Hey guys, Zach here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Bandai movie monster series Biollante. Now, Biollante is a monster from the 1989 movie Godzilla vs. Biollante, which, by the way, is a really good movie. There are some things with the plot that I do kind of question. Not going to go into too much detail, so I don't want to spoil it for you. If you want to know what I'm talking about, then go watch the movie, but yeah. Anyway, Biollante is a monster that I really like. She's not my favorite monster from the Godzilla franchise, but she's, I'd say, definitely in my top 10s. Biollante is a really cool looking monster, but yeah. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get into this. So, starting off with the paint. The paint on this figure is, well, it's a little lazy, but we'll talk about that later on. Let's take a closer look. So most of the body is this dark green color, which looks accurate to, Biollante. And we have a brighter shade of green on top of the body, right here, and going down, which, again, is accurate. The teeth on the tentacle Venus flytrap things, I don't know what you'd want to call these, but they look a little bit empty. They just look slapped on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. They don't look awful, but at the same time, they do look a little not the best. But yeah. Also, her stomach here, we can see that there is the traditional orange glow, which looks nice. However, right here, they got a little sloppy, which is kind of a bummer. The eyes are painted a metallic pink, which I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate or not. It's actually been a while since I've seen Godzilla vs. Biollante, so I don't know if that's accurate or anything like that, but yeah, it looks nice. The tusks, or mandibles, or whatever you want to call these look nice. However, they didn't really paint the undersides, which is kind of a bummer. The teeth are painted the same color as the tusk mandible things. I don't know what you want to call them, but yeah. They're the same color, and the inside of the mouth is painted a reddish, pinkish color. And that's pretty much it for the paint on this figure. It's a little bare. There are some spots where I wish they could have done a better job on. For example, I feel like they could have done a better job with the tusks right here. And yeah. Also, this, I wish this wasn't a problem, but yeah. Other than that, the paint on this figure is alright. There are some spots that they forgot to paint. For example, they painted the teeth here, but not on this tentacle or this tentacle, so yeah. Again, just minor things like that, but for the most part, the paint on this figure is what you would expect from a Bandai movie monster series figure. I can speak, don't worry, but yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the paint. There are some, it's not the best, but it's what you'd expect, so it gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the articulation, and there's not much in terms of articulation here. Basically, the head can twist 360. I wouldn't recommend doing this because, as you can see right here, like, these kind of like rub off against each other, so again, don't do that. And the tentacles can move. So, yeah. Something that I like to do with this figure is that I like to make it so that way it looks like she's pouting. To me, that's just really funny, but, yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the articulation on this figure. It's not the best. They could have done, like, a little bit better. For example, it would have been nice if these moved just a little bit, but I suppose that's asking for too much. The articulation on this figure, there's not much. But then again, the, shape of the monster itself is understandable. So, I guess it gets a pass and a half. They could have done more, but at the same time, I do understand why they didn't, make this thing an SH Monster Arts figure. But, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the articulation. It gets a pass and a half, so, yeah. Anyway, now we'll take a look at the sculpt. And the sculpt on this figure is really nice. There's nothing really too much to point out. Everything looks one-to-one with how she looked in the movie. I guess if there's one thing I would like to point out, her tentacles might be a little bit too thick compared to the movie, but other than that, like, I understand why they made them this thick. It was because, like, if they were, like, skinnier, then these would snap off, but yeah. For the most part, I do understand why these are thick, but other than that, there's not much else to say except it's Biollante. It's not, anything else, it's just Biollante, so yeah. The sculpt on this figure gets a pass, so yeah. Anyway, now we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure looks not as good compared to other Bandai Movie Monster Series figures, but still very nice nonetheless. So let's take a closer look. So starting off with the head, we have some nice scaling going on, which look nice. On the back, we have these almost Godzilla-like dorsal plates, which are detailed very nicely, very somewhat well defined. At some places they do look a little sloppy, but that can be forgiven. So yeah, this looks nice. The tentacle right here is detailed nicely as well, very viney and very, plant-like, which looks very nice. Going to the tentacles here, they look very nice as well, or this one in particular, very viney and very plant-like. And the teeth, you can't really see it because of the paint, but the teeth are detailed very nicely as well, if my camera can focus. Yeah, they look nice. As well as this tentacle here, all the little spikes and whatnot, they look very nice. The detailing at the base of the figure looks very nice as well, very plant-like. And the detailing where all this orange is looks very nice as well. I think this is the best looking bit of detailing on the whole figure, but that's just me. Anyway, the mouth is detailed alright. The teeth are detailed inside the mouth, but they're not painted, but I can understand why, because they are very small teeth. However, these teeth aren't teeth, they're just detailed in, which is kind of a shame, but this is a Bandai figure, so what else should I expect? And the detailing on the, again, I'm tusks? Mandibles? I don't know what these would be, but yeah, these are detailed nicely. Not the best, but they still look nice. And underneath, there is nothing much, other than this hole, but yeah. Anyway, that is basically it for the detailing on this figure. It's really nice. It's not as good as other Bandai Movie Monster Series figures, but again, the detailing is still very nice. And at the end of the day, should you get this figure? I've got this thing on Amazon for about 20 bucks, or I believe I got it for 20 bucks. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be a bit pricier. I've seen this thing go up for 50 bucks, but then I also saw 20 bucks. So, yeah, 20 bucks for a Biollante figure is not bad at all, considering that there are other figures that literally cost hundreds. In fact, the SH Monster Arts Biollante, I've seen that thing go up for $1,000, which is ridiculous, but yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't have any Biollante figures, then I totally suggest getting this figure. It could be up to $20 to $50 on Amazon, so if you can get this figure for 20 bucks, then, well, there you go. The only downside to this figure, there's just one thing I don't like about it, and that's the size. Because if we take another Movie Monster Series figure, like the 1991 Godzilla, you can see that they are not in scale whatsoever. Biollante should tower Godzilla, but that's obviously not the case here, so, yeah. However, if you have the 3.5-inch Bandai figures, I forget what these are called, you can see that this looks a lot better and a lot more accurate. The only problem is that this is a Final Wars Godzilla, which, yeah, doesn't really work well with Biollante. However, if you can probably, I don't know if this exists, but if they made a, Godzilla 89 or even any Heisei Godzilla in this scale, then I feel like that would work very well with this Biollante, but yeah, in terms of size, it's very disappointing, but yeah. Other than that, this is a great figure, and I highly suggest that you get it. Despite the problems with the paint and all that, I still really like this figure. And ever since I was a kid, I really wanted to buy a Biollante figure, but I could never get one for a good price. Now that I actually have one, it feels very nice. Again, this isn't the best Biollante figure by any means, but considering that this is pretty cheap, I can say, yeah, this is definitely worth 20 bucks. So if you want to know how big this figure is, here she is next to Dr. Billy Grant. Alright, now that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zek out.